Sorry about that. Part 2. Okay, so we have our globe. Now this is spherical math, and I know at first you're like, oh, okay, come on, inches not a lot. That's not a lot. All right. So you take a look at the first amount. Now the 8 inches starts in the beginning, and then what happens? There's your declination. There is the depth of how things fall. That's how your horizon will fall. Now at the beginning of it, wouldn't seem like very much, but that little tiny bit of space you're seeing in between, that's mileage. Right? So the first is 8 inches, the first mile. The next is 32, then 72, 74, and it continues to grow exponentially like that. And because the actual sphere, right? See how it falls off? This is an accepted and scientific mathematical equation. You need to think about this, because this is how it's going. This is how it works. Brought to you by Science Co. Now, it would seem strange at first. Wilson, wouldn't it be weird sitting here next to Britney Spears? Take a look at that, where it starts. Okay, you're looking at it. All right. Notice how the decline works? That's how the math works. See the decline? All right. So you're starting off with your measly little 8 inches right in the beginning, and then it drops and drops and drops and drops and drops and drops and drops. But we all know, everyone, that a horizon comes up to eye level. And if you're in a corridor in a flat building with a flat level floor, at the other end of the hallway, that flat floor, its horizon raises to eye level. And you notice something about the ceiling. The ceiling comes down to meet in the same sort of way. A lot of people are thinking, oh, it's a dome. It's like, the Astrodome, or the, seeing what's the dome in Toronto? The Sky Dome. No, it doesn't work like that either. I'm not gonna go into all the the details of that, because you have to discover some stuff on your own. But let's just go over our math again. You're gonna love this. Okay. Spherical Math 101. The declination is miles squared 8 inches per mile. Now, after the squaring happens, you take a look at my little level here. So you're looking out straight out. First mile is 8 inches. Second mile is 32. And then 74. And then it grows exponentially after that. Bigger and bigger and bigger. You notice that because you're looking at the sphere right now, and you're seeing here's where it starts, and then look how it just drops right off. Accepted, scientifically proven, and I just gave you a layman's view of how that works. Hey bud, I've been doing this research for on and off for 3 years. In the very first of it, I was trying really hard to find proof. I stopped doing that a long time ago. Now, basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to support my friends who are just coming into this. Basically, I don't live in imagination land. And I know a lot of people get upset. They get really, really mad. They get vicious when you say this, but like what I'm presenting to you is the opportunity for you to actually try and prove it using the same methods that people are proving that it's not. And what would those methods be? Well, let's see. Some people, get this, very, very, smart individuals are making rockets. Yeah. Oh, how could people make rockets, Wilson? Well, they do it all the time. They make these large scale model planes. We call them model planes, but they're actual planes, and they fly them around, and some people do rockets. Well, this guy and his whole team made 2 rockets. We're talking some big ones. Not like, NASA size, but big, and they are made to go far. Sends one up, and you're watching it at its peak speed. It goes 250,000, and it's doing it in like 30 seconds, right? I can't remember if that's kilometers. Yeah, I think it's kilometers, 250,000. So it reaches its peak speed and then stops. Dead in the air. Rockets don't have brakes. Then does a second rocket. Exact same result. Rocket goes up and up and up and up and up and stop. It even makes a little sound. If you would like, go and check out Balls Out Physics. Check out all the sites that are out there, because there's loads of them. And this is hidden Newfoundland. Most of you guys don't want to be on there because, that herd mentality, and is like, oh, but there's, so many people over here on this side of the fence. But the other side of the fence is growing. And it's going to bother you. And you're going to think about your, the Coriolis effect. Oh, I seen a video of naval officers, and these actual Navy officers, and you see them on the ship. They're in their uniforms. They're talking on live on video, and I think it was live, but they're talking on video, and they're saying we shoot by line of sight. It's something like what was it, 55 nautical miles. It turns out to be like 60 nautical miles line of sight. Understand what that means. They said if they can't see it, they can't shoot it. And they're looking at things line of sight. 60 miles. Do the declination math, and then think. 60 miles. Something's not right. This guy puts out a video, and he's just like me. Real science fiction buff, loves this stuff. I had ideas on top of ideas for things I've never expressed to people. I worked on them for a long time, and I even started learning about physics and about how things work, and physical science, physical math, and physics itself, how fusion works, fission. And at this point, I'm just I am not bothering with that nonsense at all, because it's just nonsense. And he makes this video, and he puts it out, and he's genuinely asking, can somebody please, send me some information, show me how this is messed up and wrong, and do something, because I can't figure this out. I'm here and I'm trying to figure this out. And he had his own company, and basically it's how he started. He was looking for a picture for his company, and he was going to use a globe. So he went to the NASA site, and the only one he could find was that that really old one. When you go and you look up some of these videos, you're going to find one of the Apollo mission, the full video of the Apollo mission. Gets real, right? So that original globe that you see is the window, and the amount of the Earth that's filling the window, and that little shadow is a piece of paper that But anyway, you'll find it, and you'll see it, and you'll see that it's empirical evidence, and it's proof positive. When you are in denial, this is understood. Everybody goes through it. Then you start coming out of everything, and you're like, people were angry, and they were like, first you were in denial, they were like, shut up, and then they were getting angry at the people who were doing this thing, and then they're like trying to they went through the 5 stages until finally most people accept it. You have to understand that 90% of flatters were globalists trying to prove it wrong. Trying to prove it wrong. So, here's where it all comes into fruition. Yes, your world becomes challenged. The ideas of what you were taught becomes challenged. The Coriolis effect does not get taken into consideration on naval ships. All of this stuff is now documented. It's on YouTube. It's real people, real situations. So they're all lying. Their opinion don't mean nothing. A lot of these are very professional people. The guy that does balls out physics, like me, I thought Interstellar was awesome, and it was actually around the time when I started seeing this first, and I was like, nonsense. Sit down and I'll watch Interstellar, and they actually put stuff in they were saying was science fact, like the fourth dimension, passing through time, and basically he was in behind the bookshelf, doing something. They thought it was ghosts or hotspots or whatever, and there was all this stuff happening, and I was just like, wow, I was taken in so deeply by, it took years, so literally years for me to stop thinking that way. If it took me years, and here I am, and I'm so indoctrinated a while back, what would it take the rest of the people out there? So Neil deGrasse and everybody else says you have to be up high enough to see the curvature. But then people say, well, I see boats going over the edge, over the curve. But then Neil deGrasse says you have to be up high enough to see the curvature. But people are saying they see the curvature with their own eyes. And I'm like, so you see it going over this way. But you look left to right in that perfectly straight horizon. What do we live on, a tube? It's a tube. It's not a ball, it's a tube. All the boats go over the edge of the tube and go around to the underbelly where, Australia is, and visit Antarctica and check out the penguins. Admiral Byrd, who was a well-respected admiral, the youngest to be admiral in the United States Navy, said that there is much to be explored. There is a continent larger than the United States in just south, I believe, of Antarctica. It's just, you go in so far, he said, just past the pole. You can fly to it. There's all kinds of coal, oil. He said possibly uranium. All kinds of natural resources with no indigenous life. Understand when I say that. No indigenous life. Now, this was a long time ago, and if you remember, like me as a kid, a lot of rainforests got chopped right to the ground. After Admiral Byrd said this, in the time of the black and white, TV. Right before we decided to destroy all that rainforest and all that indigenous life, relocating small villages of people, cutting down trees that were hundreds of years old, all for that pulp, for that paper, for the indoctrination, for all those things that you read about nowadays. And people are like, oh, we're so against this. I mean, the whole world is against deforestation. But Admiral Byrd mentions a place with no indigenous life, full of natural resources, in a place where, you know, what can live there in Antarctica? And the United Nations just closes it all off, says, no, nobody's allowed to go down there, nobody's allowed to dig for oil, nobody's allowed to do any of this. The greediest place, which actually drills in under the ocean, replaces the spots which they're drilling into, you know, instead of replacing it with something that's similar to oil, replaces it with salt water. Is not going to go down there and drill. Is not going to go down there and take those natural resources. This is all true. 100%. It's not a lie. It's right there for everybody to see. If you look up Admiral Byrd, you'll find him doing his big interview. He's a real person. If you research him, you will find out lots of stuff about him. He's really there, really who he is, and really who he says to be, and who we say he is. It's funny, it's strange. Here we got an area where you can go over no indigenous life. Understand that when that's being said. And, you know, it's got all these resources, we're not going to touch them. But deforestation in the rainforest, that was okay. Well, we're going to go and just, you know, screw going all the way down there. Well, that wouldn't make any sense to go to that place, you know. I mean, why go all the way down there when we can go way over in the rainforest and destroy all kinds of life to get the same thing? I mean, the coal alone, he said, oh, like a mountain of coal. Mountain. Everything you could ever want. What was over there? The United Nations created a treaty, the only treaty that lasted, that isn't even up for, you know, a revisal, I think, until like 2040 or 2020, 2040, around there. And now they're making it a preserve, where it's a protected space because it's a natural place for dolphins and penguins. I guess they learned from making all those zoos, huh? Taking all those animals from all those places and having all those zoos, and you know, all the penguins that we know of, you know, we just, you know, we got to protect those ones down there and keep that natural area safe, right? I mean, that's going to be the big red flag that says you can't go down there. Well, let's just move away from that topic and say we're not going to go down there and drill and dig and do this and do that. We're just going to explore. Going to take a look around, see what's what. Go in as far as we can. At least survey the area where supposedly there's all this coal, uranium, oil, all these natural resources with no indigenous life. We just take a look, see what's there, see what's going on. You're not allowed. You are not So go do your math on the decline, sorry. That word takes on new meaning in different ways. Anybody who studied English? Go look at the drop and the spherical math and how it works, and then, you know, come back and tell me how wrong I am. You know, do your debunking or whatever. But I'm going off of math that was created for the globe at 360 degrees and pi, how it works. I mean, I'm not making it up. It's their own science that's, you know, proving everything, and, you know, the actual physical science of the world. It's not me. I'm just repeating what the science says, you know. But I mean, that was not theoretical, because we have balls everywhere on Earth, so we can do that kind of math. Basically, you make the square and then a triangle going inside of the sphere, if you were to cut it in half, and the top part of your triangle would go from the say, if you found pi, the circumference, and it would go off and then down in and then up. Right, this fluid. My brain is so full of stuff now. It's hard to think. I've done way too much looking into stuff. I was starting to get a little bit hard to think. But there's so much in my head now. It's like my brain is bursting. And it's funny because it does take you away from a lot of nonsense. You know, my brain, I used to like kind of imagine myself, you know, on the earth, raising above the earth, and watching as I leave my body and going up into the air, and then leave the earth. You know how like when you look at Google Earth, and then come up off of it, and then you see the ball drifting away. You know, I used to kind of imagine that in my head, imagine what it would be like to go up there in space. I loved it. I loved it. I was in love with space because I'm like, you know, I like the idea of the adventure of going to all these other planets. And you say, well, so yeah, what about that? Well, it's all CGI. This is admitted. I'm sorry, but you know, I'm the one that set out to like say, oh, bullshit. This is nonsense. That's exactly what I set out to do, just like every other one. And you listen to some of these people, they're not dummies. And I challenge you to go out and prove that some of them are dummies. I challenge you all. Challenge. But this is for my good friend, my sister in Venezuela. I'm doing these videos for you. I'm willing to make myself look like a dork and an idiot in front of all the people that, you know, believe the complete opposite of me in good old St. John's, Newfoundland. The most awesome city in Canada. Thank you very much. It will not be disputed. I believe in you people. Maybe you should believe in me a bit. I believe that you'd be smart enough to check this out. The funny thing was is that the more I learned about this, the more I was learning about the solar system. Wow. What a fizzled, funny thing that is. That little globe I showed you is supposed to be spinning. At the equator, it's about 1,000, a little bit above 1,000. And that's, I believe, miles per hour. so it's going thousands, and it's doing a circumference of orbit around the sun, which is 98 million miles away. The sun is moving in a direction at, is it 600? I don't know, thousands of miles per hour. It's just stupid. And it's dragging along all these other planets that are staying in a perfect orbit like a disk, traveling through the Milky Way that is everything around us. When I thought about it first, when I first heard about it, I was like, oh yeah, of course it is. I didn't know that the sun was doing that. I started learning stuff about the solar system that I didn't know before. And when this started happening, I was just like, and then it was explained to me. And you know, my brain had so much trouble moving out of it. Like, you know, just like breaking up and not, you know, before it happens, you just like, you know, that person is it. Oh, you know, just love them. You know, like, how could I walk away from you? You who are like the sun and the moon. That's how people say it. There's the sun and the moon. You're the sun and the moon. You are the whole world. And then apparently not. And then later on you look back and you're like, how could I ever thought that about you? Look at you. Your round little... It was funny. Anyway. Remember, I did this for my friend, alright? Because my heart is for my friends. I love you. This is why I did this. It's for you. Because you're a cool chickadoo. You send me cool stuff. I like what you send me. I enjoy our time when we talk. And I'm happy to have friends like you. And I'm actually starting to make friends. And if you are my friend, then you won't mind listening to this and watching it and getting some credence and checking it out and doing some of the actual research. You know, oh, they keep saying prove it. We already have over and over again. You guys, it's time for you to prove it. Because you haven't. Like, you were told.